hosted This Is Your Life and the red carpet. Tonight, we're honouring one of the world's most exciting sportsmen.
Congratulations on the night, mate. You thoroughly deserve it. You're a true Australian champion in every sense of the word. You've inspired many, including myself, throughout the years, mate.
I hope you have a great night. You've given me a lot of pleasure over the years, and thousands upon thousands of others around the world.
You've inspired us all in one way, shape or form, whether it be on or off the field. So well done, mate. Enjoy the evening. We'll see you soon.
Hey, my friend, so much to say. First, happy 80th birthday. Great innings. I'm actually taping this today. Rod Marsh died at 74, so you're on top of him, and you know he was one of our greats. I think the first time I went to the WACA, you probably took me, and Bacchus was running laps and playing and took a specky catch, and I'm sure you and Mick would have been the ones I was with that day, probably with a Kim Hughes banner. But thank you so much for the letter you wrote me a couple of weeks ago. It means a lot. It's been a tough few weeks, or probably the last 6 months, but it's nice to be back in WA now, where it all began. Like I say, happy birthday, and for those times I've talked about it, I've written about it, when you, I suppose, ignited that passion in me by wheeling the lawnmower down to Robin Reserve. We played cricket. Unbelievable memories. You know, I've got a very, very special place in my heart for you, mate, and for the whole family. I hope you have a happy birthday. Sorry for the message, it's a bit long, but I've probably got 1,000 things I could say. Hopefully we can see you. Now I'm home, hopefully we can catch up, have a beer, reminisce. Happy birthday. Take care.
So let's go back to where it all began. The story of little Donnie Lee. From your early days living in Wembley with your devoted parents, Wally and Eileen, and your sister, Pat. You were a close-knit family, as most were back then, with only few having the luxury of a car. You had no television, no computers, no phones, no air conditioners, no electricity. Only kidding. And no distractions. So your childhood was spent playing with your street friends and your cousins, having sing-alongs and solos, and generally getting up to mischief, being seen but not heard. You attended Wembley State School. After Wal and Eileen were evicted from Wembley, you all moved to a Housing Commission accommodation in Belmont. It is here that you went into a Catholic school and you became an altar boy at 9 years old. You sang so beautifully that you were given a scholarship to attend CBC. At CBC, you were in seventh heaven, and you became the Ducks of Standard 5. You became a prefect. You were selected to play football for the school. You were a handball champion, and you also played cricket, being named the fairest and best, and you captained the side as well as the district's team. You made lifelong friendships with George Osborne, Phil Maslin, Chris Grant, Mick Manley, Dennis Fitzsimmons, and Kevin Gaddy. We have been told of your many behavioural problems at this time, such as the race between yourself and your friends to the 100 Strokes Club. I think it was you that won. Moving into the 60s, you fell in love with rock and roll. Elvis, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones. In fact, you just loved music. This love of music has been shared with your children and grandchildren. Music has always been a big part of your life, and you still love the crooners and the sing-alongs that you had at parties with your parents and your friends. You were married to Wendy in 1967 after a 5-year on-again, off-again romance due to teacher postings and travel. After a quick honeymoon at Yanship, you flew off together to Balga Hills Mission School, where you were the headmaster for 2 years and Wendy taught year 2s. Your plan was to earn and save enough for a deposit on a home. So you taught 44 full-blood Aboriginals, many of who were as tall as you, and some were the same age even though they were in primary school. Mum loved her year ones and twos, and it seemed like you learned as much from those kids as you taught them. Even so, it was a testing time for newlyweds in the middle of the Kimberleys. You survived a plane crash and you made it back to civilization in 1969. You rented a flat in Scarborough and you had your firstborn child, Michael. Life was good. You worked at Marmion Primary School and you eventually acted as a principal at 29 years of age. You perfected child making by having your second child, Catherine, in 1971. You were on the promotion trail, and so the family moved to Pingrup. You can say you were pretty involved in the Pingrup community. You started playing golf and became the secretary of the club. You were the junior footy coach, you umpired senior footy, you called the Pingrup races as well as Lake Race and Nyabing. You opened the batting for the cricket team and acted on stage in community theatre. Who can forget Wild Bill Hickok? And this is where history becomes living memory for Michael and I, and further on for your grandchildren. Dad, you've always been there for me. I know that you love me. You tell me often, and you show me that with your actions constantly. You've always been my confidant and advisor. You listen, you consider, and you challenge. You taught me how to ride a bike, how to fix that bike at the age of 6. And like most hard things in life, you told me it was character building. You showed me how to catch fish, how to rob banks and TABs, and how to make the getaway car go faster by hanging your elbow out the window and going sss. You told me how to turn $1 into the races at Gloucester Park into the best fun ever while learning maths with odds and probability. You showed me how to sail a Hobie Cat and how to swim and not panic when that Hobie Cat overturned in deep ocean. Maybe that's where my love of the ocean came. You took us around Europe for 6 months, which is something as a parent I really admire, and I just don't know if I could have done it with you and Mum. It was, the best time ever. And you've taken us to some fantastic places like Wickepin, Jurien Bay, and Pingrup, given us a lot of experiences. You hardly ever got angry at both Michael and I know we both felt it very keenly when you would be disappointed in us. It was far worse than getting a smack. You and Mum have helped us a lot, both financially, like to get our own properties, and with sound advice along the way as well. And you've shown your grandchildren the same love that you freely gave us growing up. And you're my dad, and I love you to the moon and back. And this video is just a short snippet of what your life has been about and how much we all care for you. So happy 80th, Dad. Love you. Bye.
G'day, Dad. 80. At 80 years old, you'll be 29,200 days old. 700,800 minutes old. Hours old. 42,048,000 seconds old. Man, that's bloody old. A few memories in that time from me about you. I can remember my first real memory, I think, is you pulling arrows out of my chest in the backyard, saving us from the Indians, and with the arrows out of my chest, I was ready to join you in the battle for good versus evil. Oops, a little bit unwoke there these days, but still, little boys and their dads did play cowboys and Indians in the old days. Other one, my first professional gig at sport. I remember being paid 5 cents every time I could hit a tree with a drop punt down at the park near Nan and Grandpa's. I didn't make much money, I don't think. Another dig at gambling. Went to the races one day with you and Grandpa and maybe a few other mates. I remember finding $16 and probably won about $8. That's about $500 in today's money. Pretty good day for a 9-year-old, I reckon. I remember going fishing at Narraloo with you and Mike, the birth of Carter the Farter, the sleeping fart, some decent meals in a shearing shed, some decent fishing, and the birth of the Black Hand story. Maybe that was at the farm, but either way, it was a good story, made kids' sphincters jingle a bit. Playing cricket, lots of cricket stories. I remember mowing a pitch for all the kids that were too young to be in the test team at the time. There was no teams for junior kids. So you took us down to the school motor patch, and we would all play cricket with a tennis ball and a bat. And it's a story that Justin tells in books and interviews quite often. You introduced fishing awards at Jurien Bay. Who needs a merit award when you can stuff a herring full of sinkers and get a special fishing award? Another good interaction. I remember helping you park the Kingswood in the house one time, trying to push it up the driveway. We didn't get very far, but it sure got a long way into the house. Mum was impressed, no doubt. Cricket at Wickeping. I remember playing a game with you for the seniors. Can't remember who it was against, maybe Harris Smith, and I was just learning to do leg spin and could actually turn the ball. Senior players obviously belted me all about the park. And I remember you buying me a little Slazenger cricket bat, or maybe the school bought it, but I loved that bat and I used it for many years, probably way too long. Thought I was Kim Hughes. Remember another thing at Wickepin that you did very well was cooking broccoli and serving it with custard. Genius. Being in the Wallaby track as Captain Bill Jinks, you, the director, performed it in the school, not the school, the town hall, and I contacted Wickepin Community Centre, and they've got a story that you sent them up, must have been for their 100th or 150th year or something way back, and it was mentioned in that. The only time I remember getting a smack off you was in Jurien, but to be fair, I'd just set fire to most of the town, or potentially was going to set fire to the town, so probably a well-earned tap on the bum. Going to Bremer Bay for a school camp, and you being caught by, I think it was a kid called Brett, hooked through the leg. Great fun for us, perhaps not for you. Going to Europe on a family trip for 6 months, the infamous Ouzo incident, buying the van, the Amalfi Cliff escapades, going to cricket at Lords, the snow and freezing cold in France, the snow and not so freezing cold in Greece, going skiing, the Doss House at Grafton House, skiing in Greece, and seeing lots of history's most famous sites, not more bloody rocks, as Kathy would say. I remember you coaching me at Warwick in a team early on that had Justin Langer and Steve Rossich, who both became very big in their sporting identities, obviously, and that team I think was later taken on by Alan Abrahams. Cricket at Sacred Heart, it was 100 number one for me, a new cricket bat, and I remember you and Hazy taking me down for net sessions at Robin, trying to knock my kneecaps off, and me returning the favour when you guys had to turn to bat. I played 1 or 2 games with you as in the Bush Rangers to help out at sometimes. You're obviously a big fan of my cricket. You came to watch a lot of my games. I'm pretty sure you were there for my hundreds number 2, 3 and 4 at senior cricket. I think I scored them all at Seacrest. Maybe number 4 was a bit later at Robin one time. Might have to pause there while I look up for some more information. Thank you for allowing me and affording me the trip to Europe for my 21st. Had many, many memories for 2 years there, and great character building stuff that went on, and it wouldn't have been possible without you and Mum's assistance in that one, especially financially, because I sure as hell didn't have the money to go in the first place. Thank you very much for when you've backed in my choice as Sasha as my intended, and Colin at Clarkson told me how proud you were of that occasion and how chuffed you got about it. And then both of you again put us up for when we were building a house and we had a young baby called Campbell in there, sleeping in my old bedroom as a young family, and you guys introduced us to the 5 o'clock drinks, which we may or may not have taken on as a fairly permanent part of our lifestyle from now on. Thank you for teaching my kids to draw when you looked after them, babysat them, helped us out while we were doing things and we needed them somewhere else. I guess you pulled arrows from their chests. You chased dinosaurs with them. They got into the tree out the front and would narrate stories. In fact, they probably narrated more story than actually played the story because they were very big at it. The kids love their drawing books and they like to look at them still. Taking Campbell on fishing trips and things like that with him. Doing a lot of the stuff that you did with me as a kid. Thanks, Dad, for just being my dad, being Sasha's father-in-law, being part
Say my favorite memory, And the one that keeps coming to mind is when we went up north to go salmon fishing, and by the end of it, I think we all caught 1 salmon each. Then me and Jack caught snapper, and then enough herring to fill 2 bags. So we ended up using one as bait and eating the other half. And we were meant to go out with fish and chips for some point, and we just didn't because we were sick of fish. He also taught me how to properly fillet a fish on that trip, and that's something that haven't been able to use because I apparently leached off of your luck for that fishing trip and haven't caught anything since. Anyways, happy birthday. Hope you had a great day.
Hello, this is Jack. Happy birthday, Pa. Happy 80th. Congratulations on making it so far. For this little part of the video, I'm going to talk about the proudest moments in your life. And they involve sporting achievements, financial achievements, and family achievements. You say that the number one thing in your life that you were proud of is Kathy and Michael Lee. The birth of your 2 children, you say, was by far the most proud you've ever been in your life, and that brought you unlimited amounts of joy throughout their whole life. And yeah, congratulations on raising 2 wonderful children. You also say that you're proud of surviving your trip to Europe with Mum, Wendy and Michael, living in a high-ace van for 5 months together. Would have tested you, you said it did, but you're very proud of making it through, and that would have been an awesome experience. Another one I'd really like to highlight is your career. Being a principal across multiple schools and a teacher as well. You stated to me that you wanted to be a disabled teacher, and unfortunately that didn't come to fruition. However, in 1983 you ran from Kalgoorlie all the way to West Leederville School, at which point in time you were adopting autistic children, raising money and awareness for an autistic association, as well as including them in something that previously they would never have had access to. You speak about how on that run you ran an 18-kilometre stint in which you thought you would gonna die, but you told me you looked ahead to a light post and said, I'm going to make it to this light post. And at that point you pushed through the pain barrier and ran another 4 kilometres to the end of the day with ease, you said, which is pretty bloody impressive.
We are very, very proud of you, and I hope you are proud of each other. Let me remind you...
Couldn't have said it better myself.
...of the 2 reasons we did.
I'd also like to mention the reasons that I'm really grateful that you're my pa, and there's a lot, so I'll try and keep it short. One of them definitely would be, still believe it or not, dinosaurs. I still love dinosaurs, and you taught me all about dinosaurs, and the willingness that you're able to look like a bit of a fool in front of Pauline on the front lawn playing dinosaurs with me when I was 3 years old was something I'll never forget. And now my knowledge of dinosaurs is extremely helpful in my job, where I teach little kids about dinosaurs too. So it's a gift that keeps on giving, really. And speaking of gifts that keep on giving, teaching me how to do a drop hunt is so helpful, because now I just love my footy. And without having been taught by you how to kick a footy properly, I'd probably be a lot worse off than I am now on the footy field. Another gift that keeps on giving is you taught me how to fish, how to tie rigs, how to cast, how to fillet fish. Because of that, I can now go fishing whenever I want. I reckon I'd be pretty good in the wild if I was cast away like Tom Hanks. And yeah, I use my fishing skills pretty much every week as well. So for you, Pa, I'm really grateful. And I send this message with a lot of love, and I hope that you have a fantastic birthday. And you don't forget that I really appreciate everything you've done for me, and I will forever. So thanks, mate. Have a good birthday.
Right on. Happy birthday, mate. You know how I like to have a go at you, especially on the golf course. Well, a lot of people here tonight would not know you're a pretty good golfer. You can hit any club in the bag, like a pro, except the putter. How often have we seen that vile tool of torture sail over into the bushes after another 1-foot putt just goes past the hole? Oh my goodness, how many times have we seen that? Well, Don, I think I've solved your problem. I've been able to get at great expense Jack Nicklaus's latest book, How to Improve Your 4th Putt. Yeah, just kidding, mate. Have a great night, and we'll see you on the first tee. Cheers.
Hi Pa, happy birthday. I couldn't come up with just one memory, so I have made you an acrostic poem. Let's get into it. D is for doesn't ever step down from a fight with Nanan and doesn't ever win them either. And I'm sorry that I don't stick up for you more, I'm just a bit afraid to. O is for only ever listens to old music and Adele, but it's passed down to me a little bit as well. You know I love the Beatles, you know I love David Bowie, and I love our conversations about them. They're some of my favourite artists ever. N is for not being afraid to show young children some fairly traumatic movies. I was too young to watch The Boy with the Striped Pajamas, and I was probably too young to watch Dances with Wolves, but again, you know it's rubbed off on me, and I love my gory films now and my mobster movies, and I love talking about them with you to annoy Nanan. A is for always wanting updates on my life, even though I know you don't know what I'm saying because I speak a mile a minute and I don't pronounce my words, and we come from two very different worlds now, but it's great to know that you still care and that you're still listening. And L is for loving my mummy so much and creating a really great role model in her life and in my life, and it's passed down to me and my father, and I hope one day it passes down to my husband and his children, if that happens. And then D is for doing very embarrassing shit on your front lawn with your grandchildren and not caring about it and creating some of the best memories for me, Jack, and the cousins. We love that so much, and I think all of us will always remember playing dinosaurs. Probably should have said D is for dinosaurs, but I know your name doesn't have 3 Ds in it. There was just one more D I couldn't ever forget. D is for dumplings. The absolute worst dumplings I have ever had in my life. And I know you tried very hard, but they are some dumplings I will never ever forget. So thank you for that memory as well. Happy 80th, Pa. I hope you're having the best time, and we all love you so much.
Happy birthday, Uncle Don. To celebrate, here's a quick slideshow of some very happy hunting grounds. All the best.
Yep. Hi, Don. As very green sun gropers in 1968, you introduced us to West Australian ways, like half gallons of muscat, jugs of lemon cordial at the pub for the ladies, and helping yourself to beer bottles from your host's fridge, i.e. Evan Thomas, if he was a bit tardy, offering you a refill. Referring to Di Thomas's magnificent beef Wellington as a big pasty was another piece of our WA education. On that subject, when staying in a shared Rottnest shack, David's friend Matthew Andale was in utter shock when he discovered that Don was a principal, much fishing language being the source of the awe. Thanks to you, Don, with Wendy, Michael and Kathy, we Kilkennys were saved from becoming whinging ponds and wholeheartedly embraced the West Aussie lifestyle of sea, sound and surf. Well, fishing anyway. I won't dwell on fishing except to say that your total delight watching Jack catch his first salmon at Ocean Beach was a joy to behold. Lots of other great times with the Lees over the years, of course, can't name them all. So, enjoy being an octogenarian, Mr. Lee. Happy birthday. Right.
Hey, Don, it's the Sage of the South. Now let me see, is this an obituary or a birthday? Either way, a celebration. So, to acknowledge 53 years of friendship, here's a few fond recollections. I'll start off with the somewhat tedious career of education, which saw you climb the slippery pole, and you could have gone higher before you decided a more rewarding future beckoned on the stock market. and the TAB. You were a bit of a disappointment, though, when you winked out of establishing a designer school with a curriculum focused on the essential life skills of lying and cheating and stealing. And you yourself only ever achieved mediocrity, really, in that role, as a role model. However, on to the more serious dedications of your life. After abandoning the goal of becoming Pope, the off-field joys of jugs at the Ozone or the Castle were your paramount contribution to the game of cricket. However, your leadership talents were recognised and captaincy came your way. Always an astute tactician, you boldly selected yourself to open the batting and the bowling. Fishing has been another major interest we've shared. You and I have sought barra, sea trout, sea bass, bliskery salmon, and many more. Now, at this stage, I can pan to one of those aforesaid.
Back. Yeah, I can't get the whole
Fish.
thing. No.
If my cameraman is working correctly.
Yeah, okay. That's not what I left. Yeah.
So your fish is in there somewhere, but it's not important. Size doesn't matter. Anyway, so the fishing, yeah, I've learned to fish on your left side and to keep you well away from filleting.
Smile.
A memorable incident at the Bowes River was an ugly affray with an unwary fellow enthusiast who was fishing to your right. A night session on Garden Island with a copious supply of port saw you bury a record catch of large tailor in the sand for preservation, and I think they're still there. Crabbing at Karratha exposed your sneaky nature. You were sprung while trying to snip the protruding eyes from a mighty mud crab prior to pulling it from the bucket. Golf remains central to your existence as a worthwhile Homo sapiens. Your prowess has seen you conquer the glorious Tits of Tame and make an appearance at the exclusive Ilkley Club in Yorkshire after establishing your bona fides as neither a Jew nor a nigger. But perhaps your greatest renown in golf is the record distances to which you can hurl a sand iron. It even exceeds your feats with a tennis racket. And finally, your most enduring legacy, your magnum opus, after a lifetime of study, is the discovery of a punting formula which promises worldly wealth, untold wealth, a phoenix rising from many ashes, a eureka moment for which few are chosen. Take note, Michael, Kathy, and Wendy. And finally, though, to your dark side, Don. Oh, I've run out of time for the moment, so I'll leave it there. Be sure, enjoy your day. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Don. Wishing you a very, very happy one, especially on your 80th, all the way from the lovely UK.
Where it's wet and it's cold, so please send us some sunshine. Happy birthday, buddy.
Love to you all. Bye for now.
Bye.
Hi Pa, happy birthday. I hope you have a really good day today. Sorry I'm still in isolation, I sound a bit croaky. I will never forget that you were the one who introduced me to Jurassic Park and the fact that you would look for dinosaur bones in the backyard, clearly feeding my obsession that I had with dinosaurs. They're some of my favourite memories and I'll never forget them.
Hey Don, happy birthday. I wanted to start by saying thank you first of all for welcoming me into your family and your home all those years ago, and I'm really grateful that we've spent the last 25 years being friends. I hold you responsible for my sad obsession with golf, which is not turning out too well for me. I enjoy our games every week when we play, and I hope we have many more to come. I think it says quite a lot about probably more you than me that pushing 80, you still beat me more often than not, which is kind of depressing for me. But it shows your love of the game and your patience, I think, more than anything. And you are a pleasure to play golf with. So I look forward to another 10 years at least playing golf, and hopefully by that time you'll have shot your age, which is every golfer's dream. So happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Don. Down on the south coast, we've been fishing, swimming, walking, hiding from the rain. Always think of you when we've out fishing, thinking of Narraloo, Jurien Bay, walking for miles just to get the fish. I hope you have a great day. Love, Liz.